That's
All
it,
right.
man.
That was a good first run.
There we go. Good day, gents, and welcome, and ladies. Welcome to another episode of RoadFS Detail Memoirs, where we're trying to create an impact on the industry, bringing to you guys phenomenal business owners, suppliers, vendors who are really trying to grow their business, trying to impact the business, and try to impact their communities. And we just have a great time doing it every week. I'm Jody.
I'm Rod Busey. Again, we're always sponsored by RoadFS, the software that drives your business. Today, we're really excited, too, because we have our bowl of love and happiness here to give away a bunch of Buff and Shine pads, some Reflection Artist kits, a whole bunch of goodies, some free software. We're also really excited because we have one of our favorite people on Instagram and posting stuff out there. We got Jose Vargas up there.
Jose Vega.
Jose Vega.
From Bomb Detail. And you absolutely have the coolest logo.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. I've worked on it a little bit. I've kind of some designs. So, yeah, thanks guys for having me. I appreciate you guys every time you guys do. You guys are awesome.
No, we just have a good time talking to people. You know, it's every time we visit with somebody, we learn something, even for our own business, for our own personal development. And we just appreciate you taking the time. So how did you get started in the detailing industry?
Well, I got started officially business-wise a year ago. I've been into detailing for going on over 5 years. As I kind of found a niche for myself. I'm in a rural area, so it's not like we had access to a lot of that stuff. But I grew up in a lowrider era, in the lowrider era of those nice cars, those the Dayton wire wheels, the chrome polish.
Oh yeah.
All those
yeah, I was always amazed by how they could get some of the just intricate details on the paintwork. I got to spend some time in some body shops, and in fact, we were in Ventura County in California, and we were visiting another detailer there, 805 Detail, Oscar Hernandez, and across the aisle from his shop was a paint shop. And man, I was with Oscar for about 10 minutes. I was like, I gotta go over here for a minute. So I went over and talked to these guys. I mean, I'm just blown away by some of the details people can do.
Oh yeah, and it's their creativity comes to life in those artworks, and so I can do a little bit of mechanics. I'm not huge on wiring. I had friends that grew up and could do their own sound systems. I wasn't that sound guy, but in detailing and making something look that good, there's an inner peace, there's a patience, there's almost like a Zen moment, like a Zen wear moment.
Oh, look at that fun, man. That's funny, man.
That was awesome.
For the shout out. That's awesome. But that's an interesting point, because a lot of detailers are really into the craftsmanship, and even me, as a hobbyist, I'll get detailing something, and there's a moment where you're just in your own head. Yeah. You're in, just in the moment. There's nothing else. There's maybe music going on. And that is kind of a Zen, cool feeling when you're just in the zone working on your craft.
So that's a good question. A lot of people ask that question. So what is it that you listen to when you're detailing, or what is it that kind of gets you in that zone, if you will?
Funny enough, when I'm prepping a car, when I'm washing the car, detailing the car, getting through all that, it's usually my gym playlist. Something that, like, when I'm at the gym, I'm like ready to go. Certain music hits and your levels change and your mood changes and everything else. But the polishing aspect is the one that my wife personally finds funny. So I listen to like a lot of 80s, 90s R&B, some of the new stuff. So she'll come in and she's like, "Why are you listening to love music?" But it's just, it's an awkward calm and silence that goes through. So it's just, you hear the polisher, and it's funny because, it's not heavy metal, it's not rap, rock, AC/DC, all this other stuff. It's, it's like I said, it's a little bit of oldies that hits my playlist, Al Green, Smokey Robinson, and it's just in the moment, and you're polishing, so it's just weird.
You missed your opportunity. You should have said, "I was waiting for you, baby."
Well,
I gotta use that next time. I'm gonna use that one next time.
It's interesting because a lot of people, I have different playlists for different things that I'm doing. If I'm doing something like sanding, like wet sanding, or doing like a whole car, like if I'm doing paint and body work and I'm doing a whole car, it has got to be something that keeps me awake. And my wife comes up to, she's like, I cannot believe you listen to this stuff. I mean, it is like Disturbed, Korn, System of a Down. I mean, that's
good stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
But then if I'm doing other stuff, like you said, if I'm doing polishing or if I'm doing really intricate detail work, I listen to some. I'm the same way. It's really mellow stuff. When I'm actually painting, I can't have any music on at all. Yeah. It is absolute silence. I turn my phone off. I'm just like, three levels of glasses deep, just as detailed as I can get. So I'm always interested in what people do to get themselves into that. So
and I love the paradox of the owner of Guns and Hoses Detailing, because he's listening to Simon and Garfunkel.
You're right.
In fact, that ought to be a question for the listeners. It's like, what is your favorite
what's your go-to playlist? That's
your detailing the car. That's awesome.
So tell us, you've had some advances. We can see over your shoulder there right now on the side. So tell us what's going on with that.
Well, they've been doing their Grambassador program, the Rag Company, great company, by the way. They've been doing their Grambassador program for about 2 years, for the past 2 years, actually. And every quarter they choose 10 people from around the world. I used to think it was just 10 competitors in the United States, but it's cool because, I now, thanks to them, reach out and speak to guys like Pro Detailing UK, Bucky VW, and it's guys that are in Canada, Windsor, England or UK, being able to talk to those guys. But thanks to their program, what it is it's a brand ambassador for their program. It's you fill out an application and you're marketing yourself on what makes you good. And it's cool talking to them because you think it's like a random draw. Here's 1,000 people. I know, like Anthony and the guys are great. Like when Anthony called me, it's so funny hearing him. It's like when I first spoke to Jody. I saw the videos, I see him on Instagram, but here he is, the phone call, and it's like, oh, you really sound like that. It's weird, Yeah. But their company, so they sponsor you, they send a kit, what I love about them is they encourage you to be yourself. Like they saw my Instagram, they saw what I did, they saw me, and that's what they liked. And they said, hey, we want you to be one of our sponsored ambassadors, and I'll be going for the year. Hopefully I can finish off the year being the yearly Grambassador. Besides the quarterly, everybody's still pushing for that. But it's a good way for them to push their brand and get knowledge out there. You have more people pushing the word out. It's like you guys in your company. When I met Rennie Doyle, he was talking about your software. He was talking about your company, and things like that are what you need. The right person to push your product. A lot of times, there's other companies out there that, to be honest with you, me as a consumer, and maybe I'm not everybody, but me as a consumer, there's certain things that I'm looking for when I'm looking at products. When I'm looking at a software, a website company, a product company, who are they marketing to? Are they marketing to me, the business owner? Or are they marketing to the cool kid who just got a new 350Z? Things like that. And that's just an honest outlook on it, because
that's a good point, because as I'm listening to you, I'm thinking about how detailed business owners, who are they marketing to? What is the message that they're sending to the person that they're trying to attract? Are they sending the right message? Or are they actually sending a conflicting message unintentionally?
Yeah. And I see that a lot of times, right before we started, we were talking about some of the stuff that happens out online, and you see so many detailers that look like they're marketing to other detailers.
Yeah.
It's and I look at some of the posts I see people put out there, and the one thing keeps coming to my mind. I'm like, your potential customers just saw that post.
Yeah.
Everything you do online, your potential customers see that. So if you're out there bashing a product company, do you think the next product company is going to try to get you on? I mean, just
I've seen it myself. I've seen that myself. if I honestly don't like a product, you know, the thumper rule comes into play. You know, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all.
Right, right.
Yeah, it's just that simple. Because one day you might come across that company. That company might be at a lower level, might not be to where they're going to get. But you bash them now, and you don't know. It's like that detailer that might have made a mistake, and he tried fixing it, and they didn't like him, and all of a sudden, hey, I'll never work with that guy again. 5 years down the road, he's Randy Doyle's, you know, right hand man. You know, it's like,
yeah.
Oh, you do that? Hey, can you do this to my car? You know, that ship is sold.
Yeah. Yeah. And I see stuff like, I mean, literally with detail products like pads and a polish combination, and you might have just chosen the wrong combination for that paint.
Yeah.
You know, like a mid 2000s GM black that's really brittle, and you might have chose the wrong pad and the wrong polish combination, and all of a sudden you're out there bashing somebody. Yeah, you're like, oh, you know, Rod's polish is just crap. It didn't do anything to this car. Yeah. Whereas if you'd have chosen a different car, like a Miata of the same vintage in black, and it does wonders, you know. Yeah. So
by the way, that's a new product we're rolling out. It's called Rod's Polish.
Yeah.
If you want to see how well it does, just look at his head.
I thought you guys got brighter lights. I thought I was noticing.
It saved us a lot of money. I just shave my head and it reflects off, and it just brightens the whole rail.
Right. If you got to see your reflection, you just like check that out, guys.
That's right. There you go.
So you've been in business for a year.
Mm-hmm. I just passed my anniversary, so.
Yeah, congrats.
Thanks,
so
thanks.
What have been some of the key things that have really helped you grow as a business owner?
For me, right off the bat, I would say my willingness to learn. I have not yet found myself to be that guy that knows all the answers. Even the right pad combination, perfect example. I have other friends that ask, you know, hey, how do you get this out? Honestly, run a test spot. I like this combo for this paint, or this Honda, or this Chevy, or this Volkswagen. All different paints, all different things. And the willingness to up my game, invest in myself, and market myself, like you said. Everybody's gonna see your moves. So, unfortunately, in owning a business, I chose to put myself in the public eye. So what I do, how I act, how I conduct myself, that's important. Not just when I'm working, you know.
Right.
There's a saying that goes, "You are what you repeatedly do. Therefore, excellence is a habit, not an act." So I have to repeatedly. I've trained myself to repeatedly wake up and go for excellence. And yesterday, I might have, you know, finished polishing Kit from Knight Rider. That's not enough. I might be able to do a Ferrari next week. That's not enough. You know, I don't, and I just don't want to tailor to the high-end clients. You know, like you were saying, who am I aiming for? I'm aiming for anybody that wants to show some love to their car. You know, whether it's the mom who's busted her butt working 2 jobs, everything, and says, you know what, I have some money put aside. I want to get my van back to new, my Tahoe back to new. I want to get it looking beautiful again. That's hard-earned money, and I've learned to take care of other people's money, because before it becomes my money, it's theirs, and they worked hard for it. So I have to work just as hard for theirs and give them that respect.
Right, and I think that's the perfect attitude, because, you know, it's all about expectations. And somebody might be bringing you a car that, you know, you or I might look at it and be like, you know, it's not that great of a car, but to them it might be, you know, they're either trying to preserve it as long as they can. Yeah. That's their baby. They've saved up, you know, they think that's the most awesome thing on the planet. You don't have any idea. And I mean, I've been with guys that, you know, they really didn't have a lot of money, but what they had, they took really good care of. And that's, you know, absolutely. That's what I have more respect for that than I have somebody that, you know, has a lot of money and buys a car and trashes it and doesn't care about it, you know, versus somebody that has a lower end car, but they take really good care of it. I just, you know,
and I've seen it. I've seen cars come to me from the 90s, from the early 2000s that look beautiful. And the guy will come to me like, hey man, I'm so sorry, my car's filthy. Can you just do a little something to it for me? And you almost look like, what is it? I want to know your exact definition of filthy. There's nothing wrong with that car, you know. But that's that's those kind of people that they worked for it, you know. And then you'll have somebody that has a 2-year-old car that's just swirled beyond belief, and it's like, hey man, like, you ever thought of protecting this? For what? Like, I'll get a new one eventually. That's not my dream car, you know. My little brother has a 2014 or something like that Dodge Dart, an bright orange Dodge Dart that I like to upkeep it for my little brother just for the fun of it, but he loves that thing. Me and my older brothers always rag him. So there's four boys in my family. My mom had 4 boys, and we always tell him, like, get something else. His dream car is a GTR, by the way, but you cannot convince him that Dodge isn't worth keeping forever.
Well, and everybody's got their own taste. I mean, you can't really, you know, it's funny because a long time ago, I was into, you know, different kinds of cars. I was into, you know, classics, and then lowrider pickups, like when the mini truck Rage came in the 80s, and I had one that was just like scraping the ground. I used to get pulled over all the time. And then, you know, I was into Volkswagen Bugs when that came around, and it's just, I have appreciation for every type of car. I don't care what it is. Is it taken care of? You know,
and the car that he's most proud of is his green Gremlin.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I don't have a Gremlin, but if I had one, I'd take care of it. I would love it. You know? So I think that is, you know, there's 2 kinds of people. There's like your traditional, what I'll call business owner that owns a detailing business, and it's just a business. You know, they do good. I'm not bashing anybody that does that. But then you have the other side, which is people that are passionate about cars and they love cars. And I have a tendency to migrate more towards those people, because that's why you know, we're a software company, but we're into the automotive industry because I have a passion for cars. I've done it my whole life. So
and same thing, like my heart is always in car shows. And I mean, I can't wait for it to open up. The first time I went to SEMA about 4 years ago. Oh my God. I had never, like, it's, you know, you can't stop going in circles because you see one thing that's like squirrel. So that's hopefully one day I'll be able to go back. But you know, when all this passes and the world gets straight again, you know, it'd be nice to see those things. You know, I do miss the lowrider shows and going, because you could sit there on one car. Yeah, I mean, let's say for a show, you can go and sit there on one car and just stare at it for hours. In detailing, I find the same thing when I ceramic coat cars. Oh God, you can't. I mean, I'll just sit there and just watch it. It looks, you know.
Yeah. Well, and the problem is you got to go for expectations, because you end up getting. I look at it. I'm like, even when Jody and I've had the privilege of working on Air Force One 2 years, and sponsoring the event as well, which has been phenomenal. But I found myself, we're working on an airplane, and I see a spot, like there was an entire landing gear that the paint was coming off, and I'm like, man, they could just sand that down, repaint it and everything. And Rennie's like, dude, we're preserving it. We're not restoring it. Just I'm like, yeah, but man, it's just like this big, and we can just get some paint, man. You know, so it's hard not to go all the way, but you gotta pull back a little bit.
So what has been your biggest challenge building your business?
Honestly, the biggest challenge that I've had is that little voice, you know, that in the back of your head that sees what others are doing. Because I live in a small town. I come from a small town, so rightfully so, a lot of people started picking up on the detail business about a year ago, and seeing the competition and being undercut, and your mind almost being like, just take their business. But that's not what you know, fighting that urge to say, go that route. But you got to know your worth, you know, just in life and everything, you got to know your worth. So, and like I said, thankfully I have my wife who's like, don't worry about it. Like, it'll come. And it has. I mean, obviously with the purchase of my van, you know, I purchased my van in what everybody would call the slow season, you know, and that, you know, when you make purchases like that, it gets your heart pumping, you know, it's like, okay, like let's get back to it. But just that urge to not devalue myself, you know, because you almost want to, you know, I see other people's posts, you know, I do, I'm not afraid to share other people's work. like colleagues of mine. I have, so I have in my small town, I have 4 friends that also detail, that are very passionate about what they do, and we feed off of each other a lot. And I'm thankful for them. But then there's the other ones that are doing things for way less cost. But
yeah,
for the business to survive, I've learned and know what it takes so far. So that recipe has worked for me. I don't know that I can make it with the recipe that they have, and that's not bashing anybody's work or anything.
Right.
That's just
Yeah, you got to know your thing. I mean, years and years ago, I heard a saying, and now it's even true more than then. But years and years ago, that we heard a saying that was like, you don't want to be Kmart. You don't want to be the lowest guy out there. And now Kmart is completely out of business.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
It means even more, because it's like, right. So the low cost put them out of business. You can't do that. So
you can't survive off of it. Even as a love for the industry, time is money. Could you imagine me devoting all my time into detailing just to break even? Now I've lost all those hours with my daughters, with my family, and that to me is important. That's a big reason as to why I chose to go into this industry, because I get to own my company, I get to run my hours, and I get to be with my family. I missed a lot of holidays. I work in the restaurant industry still, and actually tomorrow is our first day opening back up. So you can imagine how things kind of just moved fast.
Yeah.
And we've gone through the shutdowns, through the openings, and luckily, me being the manager at that restaurant, I've been able to survive. But so it's funny, somebody asked me, they said, hey Jose, how's your side hustle going? And it was funny because I was watching when they're doing it, and I said, oh, it's going good, I go tomorrow. And they kind of
I knew you were going to say that. Like, that's not. You got to put things in priority,
Yeah, and that's what it is. That's what it is. To me, it's like, hey, like there's no misunderstanding. This is what I do. This is what I want to master. This is my baby. This is my main job. This is what I love. There's a reason why I smile. I had my wife ask me, I was polishing a car a couple weeks ago, and she just sat there. Oddly enough, first time in a long time, she just kind of sat there on a chair in my garage, watching me do my thing. And she stops and she says, you really do just love this, huh? And I looked at her, just a weird smile on my face, and I was like, yeah, I can't explain it, It's a good feeling to be in this position.
Yeah, and I think that's awesome. I think there's a lot more people doing it this year because of what happened last year. I mean, they had the opportunity. I mean, nationwide, every industry, there's more people being at home and seeing what the benefits or the, everybody's had to kind of work through that. And I think that is one of the things that I see a lot of detailers in the last year have kind of honed in and been like, this is what I really want to do. This is where I want to be. And able to do that. There's a ton of, one time we were talking to a detailer, and he was it's almost like he was embarrassed. He's like, oh, my shop's not very big. And we were going to visit him. And he's like, it's only like 900 square feet. And I told him, I said, dude, all the cool stuff comes out of 900 square foot shop. Everything cool. If you got like a 35,000 square foot shop, you're a production guy. Little shops are where it's at. And that's, my years and years ago, my wife asked me, I have a shop at home, and she's like, do you want to blow the shop out, make it bigger? And I said, no, I want a tiny shop and really cool cars. That's what I want. I don't want to have a bigger shop with nothing in it,
Yeah.
And I think it's important to embrace the journey, right? And where you are out of your garage, I mean, that is part of your story. It's part of your legacy. And, you may become, where you have 12 people, but that may not even be your goal. It may end up being you and your little girl with her unicorn sponge, cleaning cars.
She always makes sure she has her right there next to me.
We'll have to talk to Flex and Rupes and see if they can do a unicorn polisher.
I love it.
That'd be nice. That'd be nice. Flex, right? You could just grab the little horn and just polish off of it. That'd be the handle.
We'll talk to Buff Bright and see if we can do a single light out of the unicorn's hair. We could go places with this.
I love it.
It could. I get you. And especially, it'd be easy for Dad to come home with the unicorn Rupes because, hey, she wanted it. It's Princess Unicorn.
Love it.
That's awesome. So looking ahead, man, what do you have? What kind of fun do you have in store for 2021? And then, of course, how do people get hold of you?
Well, for 2021, you know, little steps. You know, I'm trying to not go too far out of my realms, but this year I want to grow my marketing side. I want to grow my website, and get everything ready for mobile. You know, I've had the van troubleshooting, and I want to be able to just reach out. And my main goal for 2021, guys, and it's a scary one for most guys starting a business, but it's for this to be my only job. You know, it's to no longer be a part of the restaurant industry, even though I love it and it will always have a part of my life. I've learned a lot, but to be full mobile, to be full this, and another thing off my bucket list, which is coming up pretty soon, is to take Rennie's whole class. I am taking this 1 day extreme in March. But
Good.
there's a small bucket list of things like that, and if people want to get a hold of me, my Instagram is, I mainly run off of there. It's easiest, you know, I don't want to throw myself at the moment into Facebook and Twitter and everything else, because I might get lost in transition, and I feel bad missing a message 2 days later, because people almost feel like, oh, now you want to get a hold of me, you know, now. You know, it's not like that. So
that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to visit with us. And of course, we can't forget, drum roll, the 2020 relief package giveaway. Rod's
just going to call it the 2021 enhancement to your business package.
Oh, I love that.
Right.
2021.
I could use that. I could use that. A lot of people use that.
The 21 bomb detail package.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Joe.
Oh, there we go.
And last month's winner's actually watching Rick Cole from Spot Free Detail. So
this month,
January is
Alejandro.
He already won.
He can't win again. How come Alejandro?
Oh,
Come
man,
on,
he can't win twice. What's up with that? That was my fault. I didn't take his name out. So let's see.
Number 2, Alejandro, you're a winner anyway.
Yeah. Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding you.
Bomb Detail.
Oh,
Unbelievable.
There you go, buddy.
Oh, guys, thank you so much. Oh,
There's
man.
a 2021 business
That's awesome.
enhancement.
That's what we're gonna kick off here. I'm thankful.
There you
guys.
go, dude.
Oh.
So we got you going. There's a reflection artist kit. There's t-shirts, free software. We'll hook you up with the stuff. There's a whole bunch of stuff in there, and there's a whole smattering of bigs and littles and
That's good. That's perfect.
combination of everything. So there's
That's fun.
That is awesome.
That's awesome, guys. Thank you.
I'll even throw that in your box.
That's right. Let's put that
throw it in the box so it doesn't get pulled again.
That's right. So that is awesome. We'll get that out in the mail to you.
Okay.
And again, this is absolutely, you know, something that we RoadFS, Zenware, and we got together with the guys at Buff and Shine and just decided this was something we wanted to do to give back to the industry, and to kind of, you know, promote everybody just taking a deep breath and digging in and going for it. So hopefully this helps you, you know, get to whatever level you need to, and you can. We know you'll use them.
Awesome. You know I'm going to. And just so you guys know, you guys are on my bucket list for this year. I hopefully there's some way and we can meet somewhere and I can shake your guys' hand. I appreciate you guys, I really do.
Well, we'll get there. We will do it.
We will get there.
We got events planned this year, and we'll, you know, even if we have to come to California, we'll do it.
Hey, you let me know. I know a great restaurant where you guys can go eat and stay.
As long as you're still doing your side hustle.
Yeah, right.
That's perfect. Well, that's awesome.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for being our guest, guys. Jose Vega, Bomb Detail. Go check him out on Instagram. He really is amazing. He's a good guy, good family guy, and we really enjoyed the conversation. And congrats on winning. And those of you that are tuning in, please like, share, subscribe. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. And remember, use the hashtags Buff and Shine MFG, RoadFS, and Reflection Artist to be in next
February, and you can be
a winner. Guys. It works. Yeah. Trust me, it works. We saw it live. It works.
And apparently, if you're Alejandro, you win twice. And now I got to send him something. I don't know.
Well,
excellent.
Well, thank you so much. We'll check you next time, buddy.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Take care.
Bye. All right. See ya.